Welcome to Climate Center, Climate Conversation with Quamrul Chowdhury. Climate Action Pathways, episode 38. Today, we are going to have in this conversation Robert Mayer from Caribbean, Puerto Rico. He is going to share his story, Caribbean perspective in the face of runaway climate change, adverse impacts of climate change, which is now they are facing on the ground across Caribbean, across Latin America. So without much ado, I would like to ask Robert Mayer to share his reflections, his stories on the ground, what they are facing right now, right away, and how they are looking forward, especially in the run-up to Glasgow Conference of Parties COP26 October. So, Robert.
Good morning, and thank you so much for this opportunity. To me, it's very important to be able to share our work and our vision on ecological restoration of coastal ecosystems as a way of contributing to solving the current climate crisis that we're facing. It's very important for me to share ideas and to also get ideas from people from other countries. So this is really great for this opportunity. My name is Robert Mayer. I am a professor at the University of Puerto Rico at Aguadilla. We're located on northwestern tip of the island of Puerto Rico, located in the greater Antilles in the Caribbean, right next to the Hispaniola of Dominican Republic and Haiti. I've been involved in coastal restoration since 2007, when we started a small program to restore coastal dunes on the northwest of the island. My students, I had just started working there in 2004, and my students, most of them who are surfers and divers, fishers, people that use the ocean and are very close to the ocean resources. They brought up a lot of concern about erosion on our coast, disappearing beaches, a lot of construction, projects taking place too close to the shoreline at dangerous short distance from the ocean, degradation of mangroves along our coast. They brought up a lot of concerns, and we decided to take things in our own hands and assist the local government by restoring dunes on the northwest. So we started a fairly successful program back then. And we were focusing on that area and being able to restore using nature-based infrastructure techniques, such as the construction of wooden boardwalks to get people off the vegetation of dunes, and that way increasing percent vegetation cover on our islands. We also started educating our people about the importance of coastal ecosystems, such as mangroves and coastal dunes. We had years of sand extraction to be used as concrete aggregates, and that depleted our coasts of most of our major dunes. So we started educating the public using the university as a social program. Started reaching out into communities and started letting people know what the importance of these ecosystems was. Mangroves, as you all know, are very important for sequestering carbon and protecting our primary infrastructure from the strong wave action of hurricanes that are becoming more common and stronger they have become more common and stronger in the last few years. And I'll talk about that in a little in a little while. We had a really bad experience in 2017 when Hurricane Maria literally went over our island and devastated our island, destroying most of our infrastructure, which we are still recovering from. So people, when the hurricanes hit us back in 2017, they saw a really good, I should say it's good, because every bad thing has a good side, and this helped us educate people, and people saw what the storm surge can do and what our eroded beaches and dunes looked like after a Category 4 hurricane with 130, 140 mile per hour winds can do. So people were really scared. And right at that moment, we started having more volunteers and more attention to our project, because unfortunately they saw what nature can do, and by our actions, how we can turn nature into a natural disaster, which is not natural. You know, it's caused by our bad decisions. And I remember our governor at that point in time said that we couldn't get ready for something like that. And I thought that, yes, we can get ready. We can try to reduce our contributions to climate change, and also make our communities more resilient. And at the same time we work on those coastal ecosystems, we also improve the habitat of non-human animals, which have a really important role in keeping nature in balance. They need us. We need them. They don't need us. So we have sea turtles nesting on our beaches. There's very little nesting habitat left for sea turtles in the Caribbean. And we're also working on restoring their ecosystems while we build the dunes back and make them more resilient to protect our communities and our primary infrastructure. So after the storms, we started moving our work not only from the Northwest, but we started covering the whole north coast of the island with funding from the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation in the United States. We're part of the United States. We're a territory of the United States, a Commonwealth. So we get funding from the federal government. And that was very good, because we have done a lot of work along the North Coast, and we're protecting areas that are critical, that we have identified as high priority. We have hired new people. We're working with the Society of Ecological Restoration to align our biology curriculum in our school so that we can train future certified ecological restoration practitioners in training. It's called SERPIT, and it's a really good program sponsored by the Society of Ecological Restoration. So we're trying to teach our students how to use those principles of ecological restoration to standardize restoration in our country. But we still have a long way to go. And that's only talking about Puerto Rico. We have many nearby islands, such as Haiti, nearby countries such as Haiti, Dominican Republic, Cuba, the smaller, lesser Antilles, that are also facing danger because we're islands. We're the first ones to go. So if we're small, and people tend to have an insular way of seeing things. So showing our students that we can collaborate between countries is very valuable for me. I tell my students all these stories, and I'll probably share this video with my classes to let people know that we're connected, and we have found those UK. He works for the Eden Project. He's the head of the Eden Project there in Cornwall. And he's bringing a group of students here next year. We're starting to work on the details of that trip. So we're going to have academic mobility between both sides of the Atlantic, and we want to do the same for our Latin American countries and also people from other parts of the world, and bring those people here, have them as volunteers and train them, get them involved in our underground efforts to restore mangroves. We're restoring 4 mangroves on the Northwest with a National Fish and Wildlife Foundation funding. We're going to start applying for further funding to do restoration of more mangroves along our coast, and teach for other generations of practitioners.
Yeah, you are absolutely right. Yeah, Robert, you are absolutely right. And similar stories we are saying, hearing in the mangrove restoration in Bangladesh, in our coastal area, in Maldives, in Timor-Leste, or in Fiji, Samoa, Asia Pacific island countries, and also Marshall Island, Kiribati, Samoa, PNG, and also in the African continent. There are a lot of, say, islands. Those islands have the similar ecosystems or almost similar ecosystems. So ecological restoration, as you have experience in the face of climatic changes, you can share your stories, your experience, your best practices with us, and also we can share our best practices, success stories with yours, and that will help a lot, especially adapting fast. Because climate is changing too fast. As IPCC AR6 Working Group 1 report was quite loud and clear that it is even faster than we thought of. So, as you have mentioned that Professor from Cornwall is going to take his students to Puerto Rico and share their experience and blend with your experience. That will be helpful from different corners of Atlantic. So Atlantic, Pacific, these are the islands, say, in the face of climatic changes are adversely affected. So mangroves are the first order shield, natural defense that can help cut back wind speed when tornadoes or same cyclone, hurricanes hit. They can break the wind speed. They can protect human. They can protect even the ecosystems to a great extent. So that way, we should restore our mangroves, restore our say ecosystems. That is the first order defense in the face of climatic changes. So we need to cut back our emissions first. We need to cut back quite steeply from now on within 2025 and at least within 2030, so that we can keep 1.5 degree temperature stabilization regime alive as enshrined in Paris Agreement 2015. So, and also we do require a lot of climate finance, climate investment, but we are not going in that direction so far. So hopefully in Glasgow, in COP26, that climate ambition, especially to cut back emissions drastically by the G20 countries, by the research countries, by the most emitter countries, will be committed, and they will enact that commitment in their legislation, in their domestic legislation, so that their commitments are met. Not that, say, $100 billion from 2020 is not flowing. That should be flown. 2021, 100 billion plus, 2022, 100 billion plus. That should be mobilized. That should be our expectation. Say, also our expectation to adapt, raising adaptation goal, and also mitigation ambition. Thank you very much for sharing your take, your reflection. Hopefully, we can again share your take in some other episode. So it was a great pleasure to hear from you.